going to start by saying thank you to Commissioner Goodell, the NFL, the New York Jets, Woody Johnson, my amazing reps Nadej and Jason for giving us this opportunity. All the international fans of the year, you guys are amazing.
Man, the accent's different in the Bronx these days.
The 103 pick in the NFL draft, the New York Jets select Darrell Jackson Jr., defensive tackle, Florida State. Jets, Jets.
Hello and welcome to the Gangrene UK podcast. Now, you've just seen a clip of our celebrity co-host. Your face was everywhere at the draft. So, look, before we get into anything, talk us through it. How was that experience?
Honestly, one of the most surreal things I've ever done in my life. Like, I'll be honest, I didn't have time to get as nervous as everybody else. Like, they just tell you day 3. They don't tell you when your pick's going to be. Now, we had a fair few picks at the point. And by the time I got in, kind of went and seen everybody, shook some hands, kissed some babies, all that stuff. And just as my bum hit the seat, they went, right, come on, off you go. And I was like, what? Like, the first pick wasn't even happening yet. And they'd already got me out. And then they took me with Joyet from the Chargers, and San Fran David was there as well, I think. And it was just like, we walk backstage, and it's just a backstage area. And they put us in the order of the picks. So it was Jets, Chargers, San Fran. And then all of a sudden we're just waiting there. Nobody's told us anything that's happening right now, but I didn't have a voice. Like, none. Like, my mouth was opening, no noise was coming out. I was on antiseptic sprays, lozenges, and they're like, the guys from the NFL went, can you do this? I went, if I can get the voice out, I'm doing this. So they went, right, give us a second. Roger Goodell comes over, shakes all of our hands, gives us a bit of a pep talk. He went, embrace the booze. He went, they do it all the time just in case it's me. He went, it's not you. He went, and just enjoy it. He went, just go out and do it. So we go over. They tell you the pick verbally. So somebody gets it through their earpiece. They tell you it, and you like digest it. You get quite happy or sad or whatever. I couldn't tell you what I was feeling. I don't remember. And then they bring you the card over, and then they take you to the edge of the stage where you're just waiting for them to tell you to go. Mm-hmm. And I'm stood there, and they went, oh, just take a slight step back. So I stepped back, and a drop of water went down my neck from above the stage. So straight away, it was like electricity. And then they went, how's your voice? And by this point, this spray was kind of working. They went, right, turn around, open your mouth. And they sprayed like freeze spray. And the guy goes, you've got a minute. That's it. He went, it will last for about a minute. And then all of a sudden, I felt this tap on my back to go. So most of the people walked out to empty stages. I didn't. As I'm walking out, the only 2 people I can see are Colleen Wolfe and Cynthia Freeland. And they're both big cheesy grins on their face. And I'm walking, and obviously my hands were going, trying to get them to go louder because I couldn't hear the boos, I'll be honest with you. Then the minute I got to the podium, that aggressive grab of the mic, which I didn't plan, but for some reason I turned into somebody who thought they could aggressively grab the mic. And then all I heard, like I was going for it, but then all I heard was the international fans all jump up and go crazy. So that was the only noise that I had. But then as I started talking, I could feel my voice going, and I almost jumped the word. So I went from Jets to select and then back to Jets, and it was just, but I could feel my voice going, a cough coming on, and I was like, this is not going to end well. If I cough into this mic, because I was so close to it, I was like, I'm probably going to blow the speakers. So I got all of that done, did the chant. But at the end of the chant, you can kind of hear my voice just go, and that was it. And then I turned around and walked off like I was a superstar. And I've seen the photos of the walk-off. I'm going to share them over the next couple of days. They are horrific. I'm walking like I'm Steve Tyler from Aerosmith. But yeah, it was one of those where everyone went, what was the crowd like? I don't know. I don't honestly remember. I've talked in front of a lot of people, not like 100,000 like were there, or 120, whatever it was. But
So it was weird. It was super weird watching at home because in my head you had, what was it, 140. So in my head I was like, right, he's got 140. But obviously, I wasn't at home for this part of the draft. We went away to Oxfordshire this weekend, like walking. But I got home. We got back for this bit, so I put it on the TV. And I was like, Sam, oh my god, he's doing his pick now. I'm like, what's going on? And then it was cool. I mean, he did a really good job, right? I think that I don't think you weren't my favourite international person, only because the Ravens. I don't know. You probably know her name, but the girl that the Ravens
Jamie nailed it.
She was amazing.
Like
she
literally,
absolutely grilled him.
We were all talking about what we were going to say, and Jamie was like, "I was like, well, I'm going to go. I've got these people to thank." I went, "I'm going to thank the NFL on behalf of the International Fans of the Year." I said, because I've got a feeling I'm going to be quite early. I went, so I'm going to get that out. So then we've done that as a group.
Yeah.
And Jamie was like, I just want to be short and punchy. And she was like, I was thinking this. So I actually knew what she was going to say before she said it. And it was cool just knowing what she was going to say. But her delivery, I mean, she delivered that better than most comedians. And I mean, she felt it for the 3 days after as well. Everywhere we went, the Steelers remembered Jamie. So yeah, that was fire. Yeah,
she riled them. She did rile them.
Every single international fan absolutely nailed their picks. I'll be honest with you. Stephen from the Packers, who did his in Gaelic, was incredible. I looked at the sheet when he came down, and I was like, "Yeah, good job." I went. It didn't even look like words. Everybody did so well, and there were some really personal shout outs that we all had the deep stories about. Like Andy from the Commanders dropped one, and I knew it was coming again, and I was nearly crying. So yeah, it was a tight bunch. So then when we went out and kind of supported each other, it meant so much more, because most of the crowd really don't give a crap who's calling out the pick. Like we're not
obviously. It will always mean more to you than it will probably the crowd.
Yeah, but I think it meant more to all of us as well, because we all got to know each other really well. So like we were all invested in each other's picks, and some people didn't make the TV broadcast. I'm very fortunate because I was so early. I even got shouted out by Rich Eisen, who, let's face it, me and Rich, I know you're watching this, Rich. We need to chat.
Rich, you went for him a little bit. Rich went for you a little bit.
I know, I thought it was Jets stuck together, but apparently, my accent's not fit for the North Bronx. I'd be a Queens or Brooklyn boy, let's face it.
Yeah.
I ain't going Bronx. Too
Rich,
close to Yankees.
Rich, if you want to go on the show, go on the show. We'll have a chat. No, it was great. It was amazing. The only gripe I've got with you is that you didn't shout out me or the podcast, but I suppose I can.
Do you know what, right?
I only got a minute.
I know I only got a minute, but I also asked if I could give a shout out to my group, and they said we would rather you not. And this is another one of those things I would put out there to anybody. It's always better to ask for forgiveness than permission, because I asked and they said no, I couldn't do it. Where a lot of the others didn't ask and just shouted them out, and then when they went backstage, they went, "You shouldn't have done that." Well, what are you going to do? Live on TV?
Yeah, I've been international fan of the year. I've done my pick. I don't, whatever.
Yeah, but then we were also by the end, everyone was told just go out and read the card, and obviously some of these guys had waited to do their shout outs, and it was a case of, well, I'm on stage. What are they going to do?
Well, yeah, like, and you're talking like 4th, 5th round picks and stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. I will say, and we'll go on. We'll talk about the draft now, right? The 4th round was stacked. I mean, there's so much talent that I really did not think would be there in the 2nd round that ended up being, late in the 2nd that it was there in the 4th. So it's like, it was a weird draft. That's the best way to describe it. It was a really weird draft. I'm going to bring up the 4th round just very quickly to sort of go through what we're saying here. Do you know when the first pick of the 4th round is Jamal McCoy? You're kind of a bit like, this could be a good round. And there's some really good players went in the 4th. Obviously, your player, Darren Jackson Jr. Then we had Kate Klubnik from our side. But then players that weren't Jets players, like Elijah Surratt went to Boston. Keontae Scott absolutely fell quite a lot more than I thought he would. Like Mike Washington fell to the fourth. Skylar Bell fell to the fourth. Connor Liu fell to the fourth.
It was one of those
really
where, I'll be honest with you, at the draft, it's a lot harder to track than what it is at home. Like, we weren't getting access to the full board. We were getting the last 4 picks. So we were sat there and we were like, has Surratt gone? And then all of a sudden somebody go and call, and we're like, what is going on here? We had like an earlier grade on a lot of players. I'll be honest, even in the second round when we took Pons, I thought he'd already gone. So there's one of the images floating around now off ESPN of me just like, because I was over the moon. You know, I love a good defensive back anyway. And I had such a higher grade on him. I was so psyched. But it's one of those where I think there was a lot of teams that drafted very well. I think New Orleans drafted very well. I think the Dolphins had a nice little tidy draft. I mean, it's not going to fill all their holes. Sorry?
After the first round, I don't think their first round pick was good, personally.
No, but it filled what they needed.
Sure.
And obviously they took Torre, which is the guy from the International Pathways from London, who we met the day before in the drafting office. He was cool, and we were every single Brit in the room was like, "You're our boy, come on." And then the Dolphins got him, and they got to meet him after the draft, and they went for a drink and everything. It was cool.
Yeah. You're going to have these. The thing is, you're going to have these stories for the rest of your life. You're going to be like, this is when I'm going to pick a draft. It's like, it's inconceivably such a cool thing. And from someone that's, quite recently joined the Gangrene UK stuff, quite, recently started this podcast, shout out to the NFL for doing it, because it is a real amazing thing that fans from the UK, or much not just the UK, it's all over the world, international fans from all over the world get to make these picks. And the thing is, before they did these picks being international fans, the 4th round, 5th round, 6th round picks would just be ex-players or just, people that were kind of just trotted out there to be like, right, go and make the pick. Whereas now it means more as a 4th round pick.
It gets some passion into it, and it makes us feel a little bit more connected to the game. Now, in a slightly downer note, there is talks that this was the last International Fan of the Year in its current format. Which we're petitioning very heavily to try and figure out a way that we can help them keep it, because it was an experience that you can't get any other way. It was spectacular. The people were amazing. I've got friends now in multiple countries all over the world. And it was bizarre because I was meeting a guy from Germany. We were chatting. He had a guy there from San Francisco who used to live in Jersey, and we both support the same high school team. And he was like, we were like, how small is the world, but how vast is it? So I really hope that there's a way that the NFL, the New York Jets, and everybody can come together to continue the program, because it is such a huge part of growing the game internationally.
And yeah, because I want to do it as well.
Absolutely. And honestly, it's one of those, I know I've said it every year, everybody should be entering this. If you feel that you can answer the questions adequately, enter it, because you don't have to raise millions for charity. You don't have to be running events every week. You just have to be passionate and show it. And if you can do that, you've got a chance to represent your team on a global scale in front of millions of people, which makes you feel sick when you think back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, there was so many other things. I'll be honest, Adam, I can't even remember all the things. I'm going to have to go through my photographs and just start adding them and go, that's how that happened. I've got about 4 hours of video on my glasses that I took. But it was like daft things. Like, I caught the commissioner giving Mikey Hulkan's Kenyon Sadiq's draft card for the first round.
Yeah.
And he went, "Oh, I really wish somebody got that on video." And I had my glasses on and they were recording. And I was like, "Mikey, I think I recorded it." And it was just random stuff like that. So yeah, it was great. I mean, the Jets were great. The people were great. The inner circle people were great. The bands were good. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah. And then obviously we drafted, which was what we were originally on for.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I think people will enjoy listening about it. It's really interesting, like in-depth stuff about like, how it was to be there. Watching it at home was one of the weirdest draft stuff that I've probably watched for a long time at home because everyone else noticed this. I feel like it was there last year. You know, the little tone that when there's the picks in, like the little it wasn't there this year, which was confusing. At least on the Zone's stream.
I can only recall hearing it a couple of times, I'll be honest with you. But like I said, there was so much going on. It was a bit of a sensory overload. And normally, when you're not on the pick, you're either recording for ESPN or NFL Network. Like, we did an advert on night 1 and 2 for the draft in Washington. The Jets were selected. So there'll be a New York advert with us on it next year.
That's cool, man.
So I think I missed 5 picks while doing imaginary ones. And then I think day 2, we did a scene from a TV show that was happening where the Browns had the first round pick. And Will, the Browns International Fan of the Year, is walking back from the bar with a drink. And it's the Cleveland Browns are on the clock. Pick 1 in the 2026 draft. And he's like looking at the beer as if to say, "Did last night happen?" Because they only kind of told you in the theater what they were doing, but then they were like, "We would just want you to react how you would react if this was the pick." Which obviously we're in Pittsburgh, and Cleveland picked the quarterback, pick 1. The boos were incredible. We were hitting the boards. It went wild, but there was no Browns fans there because they'd all gone to the bar because they'd just picked. So yeah, there was like so many wild things happen that kind of like everyone. There was a post on NFL UK the other day, and it was, "Has anybody been to the draft? Would you recommend it, or does it drag?" It does not drag. Like, don't get me wrong. Day 3, there's a lot happening. Like, the picks are very fast. They do announcements. I mean, we saw 250 young people sign in to go join military service, which was incredible. Like, they took their oath in front of all those people. That was awesome. I would never get to see that in any other format. So there's so much happening. And then you've got bars, and then before the draft, you've got activities. I had a rookie card made as a safety. I'm a day 3 value pick, right? Like, no, honestly, mate, I would recommend anybody to try and go to the draft. There's just so much happening. Pittsburgh as well. Visit Pittsburgh. The city's fire. The people are amazing. Friday night, I was walking home on my own. Felt completely safe. Walked about 1.5 miles in a city that I'd been in for 2 days. Didn't really know my way around. Yeah, I felt great.
I think for someone that watches the whole draft, and I mean watches the whole draft, so like 1 to 7 rounds, sits there at home, watches it on TV, I would love to be there, right? There's a massive card show the same weekend, wasn't there, as well? Like a Pittsburgh card show, which I would have had a really good time, to be honest. I get some especially because I bought 1 box of the NFL trading cards, the new Tops ones. I pre-ordered 1. I have not been able to get my hands on any since. So,
I wish you just said, because we had a top stall there, and it was like literally $20 and $40 a box.
God damn it, man.
And they had like an Arctic lorry of them.
Yeah, they sold out over in the UK. They're getting resold.
Yeah, but equally, you know the cards that the players signed?
Yeah, I bought one of them. The chance of.
So they were actually printing them on the fly. So they had a print room out the back, which we got to see. So they would snap the photo of the the player with the jersey and the commissioner, it would go straight to the printer, print out, and then be brought out for them to sign and then encased.
Mm.
And it was all done within a matter of like a minute.
So I think David Bailey's got, I think, just under 4,000 purchased. So obviously there's one of one, which is the one that he signed on stage.
Yeah.
And they've done some like numbered inserts, like the 25 to 50 to 100 and stuff. So look, wish me luck, guys. All right. I get the one of one, you know, I'm getting it PSA'd. I'm never going to get, it's never going anywhere. So, but,
yeah, I mean, I took cards with me to get rid of, and I'll be honest with you, I give one away to Seahawks Sam because he is a massive Sam Darnold fan, which, yeah, Sammy's the boy. So I give him a rated rookie return signed Sam Darnold. So that's down under right now with Seahawks Sam, which, guys, if you're on Instagram or TikTok, give him a search up. Always fun content, and he says the C word a lot.
We were on this podcast, don't worry. Look, we're 20 minutes in. We're doing a draft breakdown. We've broke down 0 players, but we've broke down the draft, right?
Yeah,
the process of being there, and that's very important too. So let's get into the actual picks. Now, I'm going to start with David Bailey at 2. Now, I think when we talked about this in our chat and on previous episodes, I was I think we all wanted to trade down. I think if trading down wasn't an option, I think I was probably Arvell Reese. And I still think that maybe that was the right call. But then all of the news outlets since the pick, right, since the week, whatever it nearly is, it's a week today, oh my God. Apparently teams were calling the Jets to trade up. And we said no to a lot of them, but it was for David Bailey. So it wasn't the Jets that thought, it wasn't just the Jets that had David Bailey going to. Everyone that wanted to trade up wanted to pick David Bailey at 2.
No, and it's like what we said in the build up there. I think it was in recording, it might have been off air. The Jets' middle linebacker room right now is Jamie Sherwood, Demario Davis, Lino McCrary-Ball, and Braden McGregor. Now, as a middle guys, those guys are solid. Then we have Will McDonald. So if you had the choices of Arvell Reese for me goes into the 4 more than the off-ball outside edge kind of guy.
Yeah, definitely.
But Bailey right now, Bailey makes our team instantly better, where Reese makes the middle better because he's a great player. I'm not taking away from Arvell Reese. He's a great player, but as a team, we would still need somebody on the outside, and I don't think Reese was there yet. So actually, at the draft when Bailey came out, none of us were upset, even though we were all kind of leaning towards Reese because that's where we thought we were going. Reese thought we were going there. Reese's coach thought we were going there. Like, when they were all out on stage at the beginning, we were high-fiving the coach, and he's like, I'll see you guys in a minute. Get your cameras ready. And then, obviously, he ended up in New York.
Yeah, so Reese is a weird one because he didn't just slide past the Jets, right? I understood that we might take David Bailey. As soon as I saw pick is in, I was a bit like, I would have traded down, right? So at that point, when the pick was in, I didn't really care whether it was Bailey or Reese, as long as it wasn't Jeremiah Love. No disrespect to Jeremiah Love whatsoever, but that would have been a horrific pick by the too. But when Cardinals walked up before and they're taking Reese, they need defensive help as well. He's best player available. They took Love, and I thought, okay, strange one, but whatever. Then the Titans come up, and I think, well, they're going to take Reese because Salah will love Reese, right? Yeah. Like, he would love him. Then they take Carnell Tate. And I'm like, what is happening? What is going on? Arthur Reese has slid to 5, and at that point, I thought the Giants won't take him because they don't need him. Although I think the Giants do need linebackers, but don't need the edge. But even now, it's like it's not the biggest need for the Giants. But I thought they're definitely going to take Downs, best player in the draft, whatever. And then they take Reese, and I thought, I'm so confused because they didn't need to take him. So
they took best player available.
They didn't for me. Caleb
Yeah,
Downs.
but they 100% didn't need Caleb Downs. That's the thing. Sorry, I forget that Caleb was still available. They took the best player that wasn't Caleb Downs available.
Yeah, and it confused me because they need safety as well.
Mate, try being there. Like, we had all of our draft boards and everything. There was Lou B, who was a massive Jets content creator, Boy Green, Mikey Hulkans, me, and Jet Boy all sat there with our boards. And we were like, has Arvel Reese beaten somebody's mum up? Like, what has happened? Like, something's happened to make this guy fall. And I think it was just the fact that a few teams didn't do their research on him because they were 95% sure the Jets were taking him. And I think it helps that we cancelled Bailey's visit because it made people go, the Jets are taking Reese. And that was a great bit of business for Muji. I don't think it'll work again next year. However, it was a great bit of business. Now, David Bailey, for me, brings so much. I mean, he had 14.5 sacks last year. And let's face it, he plays for Texas Tech. They had a good season, but they're not like perennial winners. I just genuinely think that he's an explosive pass rusher that he could really make a difference in our team, especially with some of the moves that we've made further around.
Yeah, I think the best way to sum up David Bailey is by saying he was the best pass rusher in the draft. There's no question about that. He's a better edge rusher than Arvo Reese. I think I just thought that Arvo Reese is a better football player. However, again, since the draft, this is why we waited a week to record this, because I wanted to get all the tea leaves from the reporters and I wanted to see sort of where we were at outside. And apparently, a lot of NFL teams are concerned that Arvo Reese is just a middle linebacker. If you were not taking a middle linebacker at 2.
Arvo Reese is just a middle linebacker.
He is. I've been saying this for months. Well, when we were recording these, he's a middle linebacker. He's not going to be an edge rusher. And that's why the Giants took him. Because people are saying, well, Thibodeau is gone now, or, why pick Abdul Carter? It's because they're edge guys, and Reese isn't going to play edge. You
put Reese in with those two guys on the wides, the Giants' defense looks very scary. There is no two ways about it. Giants are out to play dirty defense, and they're going to hit people really hard, and that's perfectly fine because all we need is Dallas to get the first pick in the draft. We will take that off them and we'll be very gracious in it.
Yeah. And
if not, we've got so many chances to get the number 1 pick.
Sure.
We could have a decent season and still get 1, 2, and 3.
But you're going to get a quarterback anyway in 27. Look, it's all projections, but where I see the college football class next year, there's 4 or 5 first-round quarterbacks. And they're all going to be quite good.
And we have 3 first-round picks.
So we'll talk about next year though, because we to move it on forward. Now, pick 16. Look, if you watch this podcast, if you follow me on Twitter, you will know I'm a Ducks fan, and this was amazing for me, right? And obviously we're sitting there and we kind of been slipping, and I thought you definitely watch the Rams. They take Ty Simpson. Okay, kind of surprised they didn't go to Miami as well, but okay, maybe the Ravens take him. But I said Vega Owani for a while for the Ravens. It was in my latest mock for them. I was like, they're locked in on him, and he's the best guard in the class. So made a lot of sense. Tampa weren't going to take him, and I thought we've got Kyle Evan. We've got a wide receiver too. And then when the pick was Kenyon Sadiq, I kind of just looked at because I wasn't on chat or anyone. I looked at my screen and was like, I'm really happy about that. I don't even care. I don't even care that it's not Kyle Evan because Kenyon Sadiq's my favorite Ducks player. He's a super intelligent guy. Right, he understands this game inside and out. Dan Lanning was at his draft party. This guy is he's listed as a tight end. He will be everything for the Jets. He'll be a slot receiver. He'll be a wide receiver 2 at times. He'll be a tight end in 2 tight end sets. He is going to be used everywhere because he's unguardable. And what I mean by that is he's got 4.37 speed. He's an absolute monster when in terms of physical aspect. He's got
a 43.5-inch vert. You put him in the slot, ain't no nickel cornerback jumping as high as him to get that ball. He's going to high point everyone.
So you go nickel cornerback, right? If you put a linebacker on him, they'll be slower than him. right? You put a safety on him, you'll bounce them off him. They're genuinely going to be unguardable at the next level. And barring injuries last season for the Ducks, the stats would look better. He was like, don't get me wrong, he's still really good stats, but like the stats would look even better.
In that Ducks offense, he's 51 receptions for 560 yards and 8 touchdowns. It's still decent because the Ducks offense was legit. They had multiple outlets. He wasn't like then out and out number one. He was just one of a very good setup.
I think the Ducks, an issue last year, a lot of wide receivers were injured and stuff. I mean, that was one of the largest issues for the Ducks being a threat offensively, relied on the run game a lot. But when Kenyon was called on, he was just fantastic. And go and watch his highlights if you've seen him yet.
It was one of those where we always, when we did our mocks, we always joked putting him in because we never thought we would go that way. Then Frank Reich comes along. We've said this on one of our first pods. Frank Reich likes 2 tight end sets. And then we said it earlier today when we were just chatting. We can now legitimately run Mason Taylor, Kenyon Sadiq with a wide like Cooper Jr., Garrett Wilson, and Brees. And you kind of go, who are you going to guard? Because you're not guarding everybody. Like, we've got so many options now. Like, we can pull one, we can slide one in. We have got so many legit opportunities to mix it up. I cannot be upset with this. What does it mean for anybody on our team? Maybe Jelani Woods now has to kind of either convert or he might be a casualty because I can't see us taking more than 3 tight ends. But all 3 tight ends are so different.
They are. They're all really different sorts.
They're all equally as good within what they specialize in. But I do think Sadiq will be the most dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that the Jets actually doubled down and made this pick look better by what they did later in the first. Because I think that was the concern. It was the concern that when you got Sadiq, I put in our group chat, there's your wide receiver 2. Because that's my genuine thought that it was like Kenyon Sadiq is going to be the guy that is just genuinely a wide receiver 2 and you just stick with that.
Yeah.
But we trade back into the third because I expected Omar Cooper to go to the Bills. I expected him to maybe go to the Dolphins. The Dolphins took Chris Johnson, and I thought, okay, this is strange. He's sliding. I don't really know. I say sliding. He wasn't sliding because a lot of people had him as maybe the 30th best player in the draft, but I still think he would have gone earlier. And we traded back in, and I thought, this has to be for Omar Cooper Jr. I cannot see anyone. And when he read the name out, I was like, there we go. I get it. You've got your wide receiver and an extra weapon.
I'm gonna jump back to when this happened live. So every single one of us expected the Jets to trade back in.
Yeah.
Whether it be for Ty Simpson, but obviously Ty went early. I want to talk about that before we finish as well. We'll go through our stuff and then we'll come back to that. But the Omar Cooper, the Bills fans were just behind us and they were so psyched they were getting Omar Cooper. Like, they were so excited. They were going up. And then all of a sudden it's like, the Jets have traded in. When we took Omar Cooper Jr., most of the Bills, well, about 4 Bills of 10 left for the night and stormed out. They were fuming because they lost that night because of Hood. And then obviously Buffalo traded back because they didn't have a pick on. Now, he's a solid player. We know that he's good at what he does. He is something that we don't really have because AD Mitchell, although he can do it, didn't show us that. This guy is the vertical threat. He's good in the red zone. He can high point. He's got solid hands. I like this pick. I like the aggressiveness of trading up. I'm okay trading the pick that we traded because, let's face it, it was going to be a wide receiver. We always knew that if we didn't get the wide receiver at 16, pick 33, we were going to put on, but we had to trade up because they were going. We didn't want to reach too far for one. It's a great pick. Like, everybody at the draft, on the way home that night, congratulated us on day one. They were like, the Jets
That's how
won
it felt.
tonight.
That's how it felt. It really did. I mean, the weirdest thing with the wide receiver market is obviously Casey Concepcion went before Mark Cooper Jr., which did really confuse me.
I've got a brilliant video, right, of the Browns fans because they were next to us, and their International Fan of the Year, Will. We were pretty tight, so we had a good laugh. So on their reaction videos, I was recording them, and one of their super fans was like, WTF, like full mouthing, turning his head. And obviously, you know, Adam, Concepcion was one of my favorite wide receivers for the late first, early second. He was my guy at 33 if everybody'd gone. And I went over to them and I was like, are you happy? They went, we know nothing about him. And I was like, right, I'm just going to tell you this now. He was my guy for round 2. You have just legitimately took a great wide receiver. He will do well for you guys. And they're like, okay, we feel better now. And I'm like, no, you made a great pick. And then obviously everything kind of ensued on. Like there were some major reaches. Like the Dolphins' first pick was Proctor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one came out of nowhere. Even the Dolphins were a bit like, they stuttered before they cheered. Because I don't think they saw that coming either.
I didn't like it at all.
But then the Eagles pick. So you've obviously heard the story about this, them being on the phone to Lemon.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh were already on the phone. It's funny because that day, I think it might have been that day, it might have been the day before, we were in the draft room talking to them about that exact situation of what happens if a team are trying to draft a guy, but he's on the phone with the next team picking. And they were like, oh, that can't happen. That can't happen. There's protocols in place. And then we're like, it definitely happened. And we were all like kind of like looking at each other going, this is what happened.
I don't know why the Steelers called him though, because so for me, I mean, you wouldn't call the player unless it was your pick.
I think it's because
they call him early.
The team that were on the clock were 100% taking defense. Everybody knew that, so they just called ahead, thinking, well, we're on the clock because they're taking defense. But then Philly traded in, and Philly are trying to get in touch with him, but the Steelers had already had him on.
But then Philly traded with the Cowboys, which made it even more confusing because why would the Cowboys go and hand Philly, their new guy at wide receiver? It was all very strange, mate. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were questioning. Now, day two was a very slim day for the Jets, but for me, it's one of my favorite picks of the draft.
D'Angelo Ponds. Yeah, I'll let you take the reins with him.
Well, do you know what? It's one of those where everybody who's ever seen a podcast I've been on talking about college players, and I love a good defensive back. And D'Angelo Ponds was just one of those. Again, he's got a 43.5 vert, and he's not a tall guy. I think he's like 5'9", I think it is. So he has got a lot about him. He's great in like press zone, press man. The only thing I've got an issue with is if the wide receiver gets behind him, he can struggle a little bit. But last year he got 61 tackles, 4 for a loss, and 2 interceptions. An interception, Jets fans, is when the defense catch the ball that the offense has thrown and return it somewhere or gain possession. It doesn't happen very often to us. The last person to do it was my boy Ashton Davis. Just saying.
I don't want to talk about one of his interceptions, to be honest.
What do you mean, that interception where he picked off the number 1 pick?
Yep.
That's the highlight of this guy's college career. No, honestly,
it hurts me.
On the night, I thought Ponds had gone about 4 picks earlier because I went to the toilet. Yeah, I'm human, guys. I had to go wee. And then I come back, and then the guy, the ESPN and the league, they all come and gather around you when it's coming on to you, and they get you doing the chants and stuff like that, which we were doing anyway because we were just loud. Night 2, I'll be honest with you, every time you saw me cheering was complete mime because I didn't have a voice. I'd lost it on Wednesday before the draft even started, to be honest, because I Delta charity poker tournament with Philly Sports Guy and mascot Troy and everybody. But yeah, so when Pons came out, I was psyched. I mean, there's been memes dropping around already about it because the photo of me, Boy Green, and Isabel, who's a young Jets fan who's in the inner circle, we're all just like, because it was just epic. Because I think we all thought he'd gone, and it was just a good pick. Honestly, it felt great. Like I felt like that one pick that day, we smashed it.
Do you know what it was that helped him slide? Because when the draft happens, obviously everyone knowing this probably listens to this probably knows this. With a certain position group, sometimes a position group slides, which then means that everybody slides. So if you look at the first round, obviously the Chiefs trade looked for Mansour Delaney, which is your guy, and then corner wise, the second corner off the ball was Chris Johnson, who's my guy. But then he went to Dolphins. Honestly, do you know how much that annoyed me? I'm talking how much I love Chris Johnson this whole process. Then he goes to the Dolphins.
Happens all the time, mate.
There's two cornerbacks have gone in the first, which means then whoever your cornerback 3, 4, and 5 is have then slid, if you like. Now, Colton Hood went first in the second. Dog, really like him. Great pick for the Giants. Then Avian Terrell went, who most people had Avian Terrell mocked to the Vikings in round 1. So the fact that he got this far surprised everyone, really, I would imagine. So getting down to Pons at 15 was actually more just the fact that the cornerback as a position slid, which meant that Pons slid, which, hey, great for us, right? Like, we get a player that's... And it allowed us to trade back as well, because you could have just picked Pons at 44. And no one would have said anything. Everyone would have been happy. I think the Jets were going to take Jacob Rodriguez. They thought at 43. And they definitely might not have. And like you say, they seem quite content with the linebacker room. But I do get the opinion that they would probably take him Rodriguez.
Well, they were looking at Rodriguez from what we heard internally. But yeah, it didn't fall that way. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm just happy with that pick. It was very, very good.
For sure. And we can skip round 3 because we didn't have a pick. And round 4, we were meant to have quite a few picks in round 4. We only had 2, but we'll talk about that after. Now, in round 4, technically, you could have been either of these picks, couldn't you? So the first one was Darryl Jackson from Florida State. Listen, big 6'6" defensive tackle. He is quite raw and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but he's just a big dude. He's a big dude. He's great in the run game as well.
I'll be honest with you. I put him through my lens, which I like to do, where I take what each of the core people that are going to be involved in his training value, right? And the guy fits so well with Muj, AG, and with Dunbar. You kind of like put them all together, and he's everything that they're looking for, right? It's one of those where when I look at it all, I kind of go, the size of this guy is just incredible. But when you watch some of his games, I always tell people, if you want to watch what he looks like, the Alabama game was probably the best because he's playing against a very pro-ready offense. He's off the line. He moves like he's 200 pounds. He's not, I'll be honest with you, he's not going to get 1 million sacks a year. He's probably not even going to get 5. But he will be the reason that Will McDonald and David Bailey hit that quarterback, because they are going to have to put people on him because he's just a huge guy. His arm width is 7 foot something. He can cover 2 gaps and an extra man. He can triple team like nobody else. So actually, I can't really be upset by it. I mean, was there sexier picks on the board? Absolutely. I could have had a quarterback. I could have, but
you were close.
Actually, yeah,
you were close.
However, Darrell Jackson Jr., Florida State defensive tackle. All of those words were really easy to say. I didn't even have phonics on the card because the name was that easy.
So
Like,
Cade Klubnik Clemson, you could have easily said wrong.
oh
Easily.
yeah.
That's a lot of.
There's a lot of vowels there.
Yeah, that's a
but,
tricky one.
it's one of those where, like I say, I'm really happy with the pick. He seems like a really good guy. A slight little detour off it. On my way home from the draft, I'm in I'm in the tube going from Paddington to King's Cross to get my train home, and there's loads of people trying to find their way to the Eurostar, and there's like American family, and I could hear him saying that half of them are from New York and half are from Florida. And there was a young girl there, and she had a FSU backpack.
No.
And like as we were in the elevator, because I had my suitcases, they had theirs. I just had to ask if she was a fan of FSU, or if she went there. And she was like, "Oh, I actually went there." I was like, "Oh, I was at the draft on Saturday, and I actually got to draft the guy from FSU who went to the Jets." And she was like, "Darrell." She was like, "I know him." And her mum goes, "Oh yeah, she was a cheerleader for the football team. She's just graduated." So she knows him really well. And she was like, "He's such a nice guy." She went, "Honestly, he's going to do so well. He's awesome." I was like, right, that seals it now. Like, what are the chances of me meeting an FSU cheerleader in King's Cross Station, telling her how to get to Paris because they were lost? But yeah, I'm super psyched. I've sent when I went to Florham Park on Monday, I left his draft card for him because I wouldn't feel right keeping that card, knowing that's the card that changed his life.
Yeah.
So he's got that going back to him. He'll be at the facility next week. I'm very, very excited. It's one of these where I think Dunbar is going to enjoy working with him. He doesn't fit Dunbar as well as he does the other two, but look at what Dunbar does with big, massive linemen, like when he was in Pitt. I'm very excited to see what this pick turns into. If he's Hall of Fame, guys, all I can say is I did that. But I explained earlier on, like, obviously, we don't see the pick until the pick's already through. We don't learn anything before it's already typed up and done. All the teams know before we know. I just get given a card and told to walk with it. And I don't have a mobile phone with me. They take your mobile phone off you anytime you go backstage.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I wonder if I can get it over to the guys in the Hippo so they can put it on Paddy Power for me. But yeah, they make sure you can't do that. And then obviously we went for a Tiger, not my Tigers, and not Jamie and Sherwood's Tigers, but the other Tigers, Clemson.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Klubnik pick?
Yeah, look, before I say this, Darrell Jackson Jr., we've got to get him on the pod. You picked him, man. We've got to at least try and get him on the pod. Have a chat with him.
I'll see what I can do.
All right, watch this space, guys.
I'll message CJ later on.
Okay, sick. Right, K Klubnik. Look, I'm not. The bit I'm not bothered about is the bit that a lot of Jets fans are. Oh, he traded away fourths to get him. Look, if he's your guy, if on your board he's your guy, trade a couple of fourth-round picks. No issue with that at all. I really don't. It's just for me, they're betting on probably pre-2025 season Cade Klubnik that he's going to be, because he was projected in a lot of mocks before, like a year out mocks that people are doing now for 27. A lot of people mock Cade Klubnik at 3 to the Jets in the draft, stuff like that, like in the top 10. The talent was there, and I still think the talent maybe is there. It's just my largest issue with him is that I struggle to see an NFL deep ball on him, which concerns me.
Doesn't matter.
Right. It does to me, right? And I probably just had Garrett Nussmeier higher. But then maybe I'm definitely wrong here, because every other NFL franchise seems to have not had Garrett Nussmeier higher because he fell to the 7th round.
There's also issues, like Garrett Nussmeier does need surgery. Now, the surgery is very low risk, but as with anything, low risk doesn't mean no risk. So you're going to take a guy who needs back surgery, that should be an in and out of hospital recovery, just stitches. That's a big risk. So for the Jets to do that, I understand why they didn't. Now, my thing with Klubnik is his line this year was awful. You will agree. We probably neither one of us probably watched Clemson that much because let's face it, they weren't good to watch.
Other than Blake Miller, their line was awful.
Yeah, and I think. Do you remember when we were talking about what I wanted in that feeling from the draft? I wanted that thing of I wanted to be that guy sat on the sofa going, "This is the stupidest pick in the world. This is why this team will never win a Super Bowl." I think a lot of Jets fans have just had that, and
yeah,
for me, I'm not upset with it. I mean, I don't love it. I don't hate it. It was just, let's take a punt. Could we have got him later? Maybe. Do you risk that? Absolutely not.
The Jets don't think they could. I mean, it's worth saying that the Jets' intel, and none of us get this, the Jets' intel was that he was going to get taken before their first fourth-round pick. Or second fourth-round pick. So if that's the case, then you have to trade up and get him if you feel he's your guy. That I don't have an issue with.
Yeah, I don't think we give up a lot to get him. I think his floor is a lot higher than some have it. I think his ceiling could be anything. I'm very excited to see what he can do. I don't think he plays a game this season. I think we start with Geno Smith.
I hope he doesn't play a game this season.
I think Russell Wilson will be our backup. He may or may not have been at the facility the same day as me.
Was he?
Well, I wasn't allowed in a certain part of the facility for a reason. And I was asked at lunch if I recognized any specific players, which I was like, I'm going to hold back and not say. But there was a guy that looked like him. I've met Russ a couple of times, but he was a decent distance away. It could have been anyone. But seeing all the players beelining through to go and say hi to somebody and then coming back, it kind of makes me feel like it was him. But I can't be 100%. But we were both at the facility at the same time. He arrived a little bit before I did. And I got asked to come a little bit later than I was originally asked. So there was no crossover in the foyer.
He's had a visit with the Jets. So that's...
yeah, he was there Monday.
You're giving up like stuff that you're not meant to be telling us. Like he has had a visit with the Jets.
He was at the Jets facility on Monday. That came out last night. So I'm allowed to say that I was there on Monday. They were very secretive about one area of the facility. There was a lot of players coming through that had been through intense workouts, is all I'm going to say.
Did you, just go off on a tangent here, because obviously you know my favourite Jets player is Garrett. Did you meet him?
Who, Garrett? No. I don't even know if he was on site. The players that I met were Jamie Sherwood. I had a great chat with Jamie. Andrew Beck, Harrison Phillips, and I was also recognised by Coach Banjo. And I met Demario Davis. I met Demario Davis too.
He's the guy, man. He's the guy, isn't he?
He was an absolute dude because he was popping through the doors I wasn't allowed to go through, and he stopped to talk to me and Jamie, and then he was like asking me all the questions about how it felt and stuff like that, and like we were chatting, but I got to see the dynamic between Jamie and Demario, which when you think about it, Demario's only been with the team a month.
Yeah,
they were talking like really tight. They were on the same page, if you know what I mean. They were speaking about what they needed to do, and he was like, should we just go and do it and smash it this afternoon? Should we just do this? And they were all over it. So I'm like, I feel good about that dynamic.
I've never met a Jets player, past or present. So 2026, let's see if that changes. Right? Yeah, maybe.
There's a couple coming over this year, so we'll make sure you get to one of them.
Sweet. Right. Let's carry on.
It won't be Garrett. It won't be Garrett. But
no, I know.
Garrett will be at Fashion Week, so it's always worth going to Fashion Week. You might see Jamie in there as well. But next pick that we took another Cooper because the Jets love players with the same name.
Yep.
It was announced by Max Whitlock, the Olympian. gold medal Olympian, which was really cool. It's the latest pick that they've had from London. It's the only pick we've ever done in the draft where it was nighttime. And he didn't make the broadcast. However, he was on the big screen in the draft theatre, which was really cool.
Yeah, so we didn't see any of this at home. Yeah, on the zone, it just came up and it's Cooper.
Yeah, so Max did the pick, and it was very, very cool. And actually, as a swing guard, I really like it.
I think it's a really good value pick. Like genuinely, like he's played so much college football. I think that's the thing to say here. He has played a lot of college football at right guard.
I mean, he's a massive unit as well.
He brings you a lot of experience just from college. Now, do I think he's going to start? Obviously, I don't think he's going to start. Dylan Parham probably starts. I think Joe Tippmann probably is. Joe played right guard last year. Joe probably plays right guard this year. So I don't think he starts, but he's very good depth.
Seeing how we've struggled over the years with the O-line and not having swing positions with a guy that can play left or right guard or left or right tackle, this was a great move because this guy can literally slot in. So if we lose any of the guards, Coop can step in. Or if one of them gets gassed out, he can swap in. There's a lot of upside for a very, let's face it, it's a low value pick with a high value output if he even remotely turns out.
And this is the thing, I think me and Fraser, for obviously in the group chat, we're just pinging messages of each other. And I was kind of thinking, like, Hans probably just sat there in America, like, can you two shut up, man? Like, literally every 2 seconds, you two are just pinging each other in this chat. But we were messaging back and forth, basically saying we have to take a guard at some point. Like, we have to take a guard.
And so I think we did well. Did well on that.
Weird. Now, the next one I'm probably going to talk about more because you asked me before we started recording, who is your favourite pick of the draft? And I said BJ Payne, purely because I think he's like a 3rd or 4th round talent. And I'm really surprised that the Jets were able to pick him up in the 7th round. Kansas State guy, ran a 4.40. Speed seems to be really important for the Jets this year, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed that sort of theme here.
Yeah. It's very, very fast.
Offensive. Yeah, most of the offensive players can run a sub 4.4. Obviously, D'Angelo Pons is really fast. VJ Payne is really fast. But yeah, he is genuinely 3rd, 4th round talent. He's got real elite level speed. He's just 6'3" with those big long arms. So that's exactly what you want your safety to be. He's really versatile, box, slot, free safety, kind of played a bit of everywhere. He's good against tight ends. The note to watch, if when they played Baylor, Michael Trigg and him went absolutely back and forth, and he boxed him out majority of the game. Like, he's a dog. Like, I'm not sitting here saying to all of you that he's going to start week 1, like he's that guy. But I think he definitely gets on the field and plays meaningful snaps for the Jets this year. To say that for a 7th round pick is pretty crazy, really. Like,
I mean, even if he gets 5 games and delivers 3 or 4 stat lines, it's value. I do genuinely believe this might be one of the only true roster building drafts we've done. Like, we went equally offense, defense. We filled positions of need, and then we kind of went around it and went, that's what we do in free agency, and it ticks all the boxes. Like, are we a perfect team? Absolutely not. Are we better than where we were a week ago? 100% yes. And I can't ask for more.
It's definitely difficult. I mean, I don't dislike any of the picks. Like, even the Klubnik pick, which I wasn't a huge fan of at the time, I've been brought a bit around to just purely because Klubnik's got a lot of high upside. Whether or not I think he reaches that level is irrelevant. But you know what? If he was a career backup for the Jets and was a 10-year player for the Jets as a backup, you'd all be really happy with that pick in the 4th round. It's great value. So, yeah, it's a really good draft. I will 100% be giving it like an A-, B+ type draft. I think that's probably where I put it. I think that'd be fair enough. I think most people would agree.
I think at the moment, I would agree, right? However, what I will say is I don't think the Jets went as much for immediate impact this year, but long-term upside is astronomical. But equally, it wasn't a safe draft either. They've took a couple of reaches that if they don't work out, the floor on these guys is pretty average and low. But if they do work out, their ceilings are so freaking high. I'm like, yeah, it's one of those where I will genuinely be interested in revisiting this draft in the future because I think it may become an iconic draft.
I think it's always going to be a special draft for you as well.
Oh yeah, I mean,
racing's draft will always be special to you and should be. And we're coming at this really happy. And I think the first 4 players start week 1. I think even to be honest with D'Angelo Pond, even if he plays nickel, right, because he's got that speed, and even if he plays nickel, he could be one of the best nickel corners in the NFL, which we know what that's like because we had one of the best nickel corners in the NFL at one point. So even if that's what he is, it's still a really, really good pick in the second round. But I think he'll be more than that. I do think he's more than that. But so that is it for us. Other than I wanted to come back because you wanted to talk about that. You had a Ty Simpson story that you wanted to talk about.
It's just I just wanted to see how you felt about the pick. Now, a lot of people in the draft theater don't understand it, and they should have traded back. Now, I had a view on it that split a few people. I just wanted to know what did you think of the Ty Simpson pick by the Rams at wherever they picked him?
So I'll defend the Rams slightly with this because the Rams got a pick that wasn't theirs, that realistically should never have got, that became a higher pick than they would have expected. So I think the Rams probably looked at that pick and felt that we don't need anyone. We don't need anyone who really. I would also agree that their roster is really strong. They traded for Trent McDuffie, which solved the cornerback issue. I kind of felt that the Rams don't need anything in 2026. I don't think they needed an instant impact player. So I think what they did was they said, do you know what? We don't need anyone now. Let's take a guy that has got limited college football experience, but when he has played, he's looked quite good. Let's have him learn off one of the greats of my generation, Matt Stafford, one of the best quarterback systems and offensive systems in the NFL, in Sean McVay's system. And they went, let's see what we can do with him. Let's take him now, because then next year in the draft, we don't need to worry about taking quarterback if Matt decides to retire, which I don't think he will in the next few years. No. However, that's probably on my positive end a little bit. I still just don't really think it was good value at all. I don't think that it was taken him that early. And I think you could have traded back and still got him.
Well, that's the thing, right? You're saying you could have traded back. Do you know nobody phoned for that pick and they shopped it? Nobody wanted it.
See, so there was surprising. Although I thought they would have taken Mekhi 11. I think I was sat there my whole time thinking they take 11.
Yeah, but equally, you've got to look at it. Mekhi Lemon does have some character flaws, and they're already dealing with Puka. They don't really want to add more into that.
Yeah. He's a bit of a character problem.
My one with Ty Simpson is very much what you just said. I went, right, trading back is all fine and dandy as long as you've got a trade partner. They didn't have a trade partner.
Sure.
So they will, like you said, they are a great team. I very much expect them to be fighting around the Super Bowl next year.
So my pick this year to win it.
Their first round pick next year, they are aiming to be 30, 31, 32, like somewhere around there. Like that's what they're going for. Now, they are not going to risk not getting their quarterback of the future when, Matt's probably got 2-3 years. But what they've done in taking Ty Simpson is they have got a young quarterback with limited time with a fifth-year option. Now, when we did the mocks, I said the same thing. I traded back in to 30 to take Ty Simpson. Not because I wanted Ty Simpson. I wanted Ty Simpson with a fifth year. Because now I've got 2 to 3 years with Matt Stafford. And then I've still got 2 to 3 years on the rookie deal with Ty Simpson. So I personally think it was a great bit of business. Was it the best value? Absolutely not. But strategically for moving forward for that franchise, I think they have genuinely locked up the chance that they can be contenders for the next 5-6 years.
I think it's no risk pick for the Rams specifically. Yeah. I don't think Ty Simpson was a first-round pick, but for the Rams specifically, was there any risk to it? No, because if Ty Simpson doesn't work out, like you said, they didn't want anyone else. I think, I can't remember whose interview it was. It might have been Schefter, who I watched the other day, who said post-draft that when he spoke to the Rams, they felt as if their roster was near enough perfect. They don't need anyone to come in right now and take over. So they felt, let's just take a swing.
When Ty was picked, his whole family were front of stage, and they went to see the Rams when he got picked. And then he walked past us, and we all wished him well, because obviously there was a chance he was coming to New York. We all pointed at him. We were like, we see you. And he was like, he dapped up. And then as he walked past, we all high-fived him. Warren even said to him, Ty, I really wanted you at the Jets. He went, but good luck at the Rams. And he acknowledged us, and he was like, he's ready for it. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to see your take on it, because like I say, a few people, they didn't get it. And I'm like, I felt like you would be kind of the same way as me of it for what they had to do and what they did. I think they did very well.
It was the Falcons' pick ultimately. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't their pick, and I think
the Falcons weren't going to take a quarterback, were they? They just like left-handies.
God knows, they just like taking quarterbacks when they've already got one, don't they? So that's an interesting question on that. Just before we go, I don't know the feeling that you got if the Rams didn't take Ty. Was he in play at 16? Like from the Jets, it's hard to say.
I looking at the draft that we did now, I think we were always taking a QB later.
Yeah.
I think Sadiq was nearly always the guy. I think they liked what he could bring. I think Frank Reich had a lot to do with that. Like you say, he had the upside of tight end and wide receiver. So I feel like that was going to be our pick no matter what. So I don't think Ty was on for us there. However, if he'd have lasted to the 30s, might we have traded in and took him ahead of Cooper? Possibly. But I don't know. Yeah.
It's very interesting. I think you have to look at it from the Rams' perspective as well, just lastly, before we go. If you look into what they were going to do, so they felt that way, is what Adam Schefter said. The other reports saying the only players that they really considered were, before the draft, were Mekhi Lemon, if he was still there, or Kenyon Sadiq. They chose to take Ty and then took Max Clare from Ohio State later in the draft because they're going to run these two tight end sets. It's so they took a guy, and I love that pick, by the way. I think they got really good value there at the end of the second. So look, if we're sat here in a couple of years' time and we're even remotely similar in any respect to the Rams, we've done something right, because they're a great organization that gets it right ultimately. Yep. So do I think Ty Simpson will be a success in the NFL? Yeah, I do, because he's with the Rams. Sometimes the organization gives you confidence in a player, and there's all this talk that Sean McVay didn't want the pick. I can say this right now with a lot of confidence. Sean McVay says to you, to whoever's picking the player, whatever, I don't want him. They don't pick him.
No.
100% they don't pick him if Sean McVay doesn't want him.
I think Sean McVay might have wanted other people higher, but
sure.
I think when Ty Simpson turns up at rookie minicamp next week, Sean McVay is going to be wetting his pants because of what he can do and about where his development is at. Because at the end of the day, he's been at Bama. We all know, as much as we like to hate on Bama's offense is legit probably the nearest thing to a NFL offense in college football. It has been forever.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm excited for the season. I know we're going to have a couple of weeks off, but there is a lot to cover this off season. So we will have a chat about getting some specials in, and while we're in the off season is when we might be able to get a couple of the guys on.
Obviously that'd be amazing. Gonna do my first Google of this episode, because I don't normally Google. It seems like I do because I'm typing and all that sort of stuff, but I really haven't. It looks as if the Jets rookie mini camp starts at the start of April, and then obviously the Jets can be back in the building sort of May, June time. So what we'll probably
I
do.
can confirm there was about 25 or more in the facility the other day doing self-training and group training together.
That is great to see.
And like I said, they were working hard because like I got time with Harrison Phillips and he'd just finished a workout. He was dripping, but he was in good jest. We had a good laugh about the London game where he sacked Aaron Rodgers when he played for the Vikings. He did a little happy dance. I could get that vibe from him. He was like, next time we go, we're going to win. I was like, yeah, we are. Even if I've got to come out and play.
What safety? Later on.
Yeah. I'm a value pick, mate. I'm going to share that on the page sometime this week. My value pick. Because my photo as well is me doing a walk-off after a tackle. And it's like so arrogant. It's so bad. Somebody went, it looks like I'm leaving the toilet. But it's like me just literally walking off. You remember the Sauce one where he's just walking away? There's no pause. It's just walking. That's my card. But I've been sending it to the Jets because I think if we do an activation this year, that's what we need to do. So everybody gets their own Jets rookie card. Which would be sick.
For me, I'm a massive trading card guy, you know that. So that would be very cool. But look, that's what we've got time for today. Like I say, if anything, if any news comes out, any breaking news that we have to do an episode on, we obviously will. But this is sort of your slightly quieter time for 2 weeks to a month, and we'll see what happens. I'm very excited for the jersey numbers to come out because I'm pre-ordering my Kenyan City jersey as soon as I can.
Let me know when you're ready because I'm putting an order in shortly. And then we'll be able to get them all together.
Sweet. I shall let you know. I'm getting Kenyan City. I'm getting Omar Cooper. I'm getting David Bailey. I'm going all in, get all the money out. I'm definitely getting Kenyan City because I've got a Ducks Kenyan City jersey. So that's
a good shout. I'm getting a custom International Fan of the Year jersey, and then I'm in two minds of Pons or Jackson. I feel like Jackson is the pick.
Yeah, get Jackson.
So yeah, I'm probably going to do Jackson as well.
Look, Darrell, if you're listening to this, we're going to have you on. I'll have a chat with you. A little talk about a bit of college football.
You can hear my North Bronx accent.
Yeah. Oh God. Right. Thank you for listening, everyone, guys. The support on this has been really, really great. The guys in the Gangrene UK chat on Facebook as well. If you're not already in there, by the way, Gangrene UK on Facebook is great. It's a great group. There's loads of people in there that will ask questions about like college football and say like, I don't watch it. What we're looking for. I do a lot of big breakdowns of players in there, so you'll see a lot of information about the players that we've drafted in there as well, a bit more in depth than what we do on the pod. So if you want that, check it out. Any final words from you today?
No, just I've got a couple of books dropping in the group later on this month that will help people kind of assess talent and watch football from a non-playing football point of view. Really interesting. They've been well received on the pre-reads. And as always, for Gangrene UK, they will be free of charge.
Good stuff. Right. We will see you guys next time.